Who's going to win?
Well, it depends
You're gonna take him down, surely.
how many times do you need to go up it?
Just the once.
I get it on the ones, but yeah, give me like a good 20 minutes recovery before the next time.
What does it actually feel like? You know when it's really, really painful. What are you?
I feel like my world's ending. Probably that beer, really, to be honest with you. It's been a while, so. Good question. What motivates me?
Jack, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
Good. Thanks for joining us on the Scottish cycling sofa. And we were talking just off camera. Handsome Jacks for a haircut.
Yeah, shout out Handsome Jacks up the road.
Goes with the name, eh?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Not this one. This was the local Turkish.
Oh,
barbers, but you know.
Beggars can't be choosers, I suppose.
No.
But no, how are we? How are things?
Things are good. Yeah, things are starting to kind of heat up towards. What is it now? We've got 7 weeks, 8 weeks. So yeah, not long to go now. So yeah, heads down at the moment, and yeah, just see how it goes.
Just back from Germany, but I heard you weren't there with Kilton, a famous Scottish beer.
No, I unfortunately not. Most of my friends and family are away out there. My brother and my dad, etc., went out yesterday. So yeah, they're out enjoying themselves and sending me loads of photos and rubbing it in. But yeah, so I was out in Germany for my final kind of outdoor kind of training camp before we kind of knuckled down here. And it went well. It was nice. We got a bit of racing in. The weather was questionable, but hopefully it just rains the whole time now in Germany. So
Not bitter at all.
No, not better at all. No. But yeah.
But it's all going to be worth it, obviously, this summer. Paris now on the horizon. Kind of, yeah. Where you're at this far out, do you feel the tension rising already, or are you still in a good place that you're just able to keep doing what you're doing?
Yeah, I think you just take it each day as it comes. I think if you look too far ahead, even now, I know it's only 7 or 8 weeks away, you look too far ahead, you can sometimes derail yourself or get yourself worked up too much. So for me, it's basically just turn up each day, tick the box and go home and make sure that you're ready for the next day. Obviously tensions are building, and selection, I think selection's actually officially today. We find out at some point. So yeah, it's just about making sure that you're giving each training session your all and make sure you're doing the right things out with, which is not going to Germany. So yeah.
Very good. And just going kind of right back to the start, your cycling journey, there's been lots of chat about this in the past, but the moment that always resonates with me is you were in the stands in the velodrome in Glasgow, watching Sir Chris do his thing, and that was the kind of spark that was lit.
Yeah, well, it wasn't Sir Chris, it was the Commonwealth. I was at Sir Chris Velodrome, but it was it was the Commonwealth Games in 2014, and I trained a little bit with the guys who raced there for Scotland, kind of on a Tuesday and Thursday, which was the kind of the generic Scottish cycling sessions. Yeah. I think I was still a junior at the time, or maybe still a youth. 2014, yeah, just turned junior. So yeah, and I just remember thinking, wow, this is what I want to do. I want to be on the other side of this fence, and that was kind of the thing that really sparked me to push and make sure that I did this for a career. So yeah, that was the kind of turning point that made me really feel like I should probably knuckle down now and stop being a wee guy and actually try and make a living out of it. Yeah.
Nice. And it's funny because like nowadays the word legacy, people don't like it, they try to avoid using it, but surely the 2014 legacy is real, right? The facility, the likes of yourself and many others who came around off the back of that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think people don't like using the word legacy, but I think especially in Glasgow for myself, it was a really crucial point in my career, or what kind of sparked the career. There's plenty of people who have came and went throughout the programme who were similar. And I think even look at London, like the London Olympics sparked so many different careers, whether it was cycling or other sports. So I think you can even go as far as say like the Glasgow Worlds last year that I've seen. Like I remember when everything was happening, and there was loads of people out on the bikes. There was a lot of families out on the bikes, and I think that's the thing that's cool. It's not, especially cycling, you don't have. I think people think that when we talk about legacy, it has to be that you're the next Chris Hoy or you're the next Kate Archibald or whoever it is. It's not about that. It's about just inspiring people to go out and ride the bikes and be healthy. And even like little things, I think over the weekend there in Glasgow, the city shut down for a bike event that basically closed the roads, and it was an opportunity for families to get out in a safe environment and ride their bikes in the city centre without cars getting in the way. And I think that's the kind of thing that we should be promoting and pushing.
That's going to inspire more people to ride the bike, surely.
Exactly. I think given cycling's not, A, it's not an easy sport to get into because it's expensive, and secondly, it's quite a scary sport for people who aren't comfortable in traffic. Even myself, there's times that I've been in sticky situations in the road where I've been knocked off, or you've been bumped, or you've had to swerve to avoid things, and some people aren't comfortable or confident enough to do that. So having these events that then build things such as cycle paths and facilities for people to be safe and feel safe is really important.
Aye. Sounds from what you're saying, you're the next Chris Boardman in the making, post-career.
I don't know about that, yeah.
But no, I think, jokes aside, it's really valid, and you mentioned that event just the other week, like closed off Montrose Street again, and that's become a bit of like a legacy from the world champs in terms of people lining the streets watching Van der Poel. And
I don't think anyone's gone up there as quick as him, but yeah, it's I think that's the kind of thing that the Montrose Street is such like a staple in terms of like people. You see people go up in fixies and down it in fixies and stuff now, and I don't understand why they think that's acceptable. Do you know what I mean? With the lights at the bottom, but yeah, it's having these opportunities to do things like that and give the general public an idea of how impressive it actually is for when you see these riders firing up it. It's the same with the velodrome. It's hard to comprehend how quick any rider's going, whether it's endurance or sprint. Unless you were to put a general punter beside it, because as at top level, everything should look easy. Do you know what I mean? And if it doesn't look easy, then you're doing it wrong a little bit. So, but yeah.
So go on then, we put a general punter, aka Jack Carlin, against Van der Poel on Montrose Street.
God.
Who's going to win?
Well, it depends
how many
times you need to go up it.
Just the once.
I get it on the once, but yeah, give me like a good 20 minutes recovery before the next time. Yeah. I think you may have it a couple of I think if it was more than once in a day, you'd probably have it, to be fair. But yeah, I think I'd spend all my beans in the first time, but I reckon I'd have it.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you say about like making it seem easy. Like I've witnessed it firsthand. Glasgow Worlds, Commonwealth Games. Yep. Jack Carlin coming off the track post race. Just describe that whole process.
Yeah, I think it completely. It depends if you win, because you don't feel it as bad if you win. Yeah. If you lose, then I think it depends on where you are in your training block and where your fitness is at. As sprinters, we don't freshen up very often, and when we do, that's when you'll see good results. For example, for the last few years, we've really focused on making sure that this Olympics we hit it really hard, and we come out of it, and that's why GBCT normally do really well at the Olympics, because we have such a games-focused mentality that everything else is almost one below. Which sometimes I agree with, sometimes I don't. But that's just the way it is, and that's why we're so successful at the Olympics. Yeah. And I think, I think there's times that I can come off and I feel like I've barely touched the sides, and there's times that I feel that I need a defibrillator. So,
what does it actually feel like? You know, when it's really painful. What
I feel like my world's ending. You know what I mean? I feel like someone needs to. The thing is, I've definitely, as I've got older, been able to control it better. I think it's mostly in the mindset of it's panicking, trying to get your breathing sorted,
not throw up.
Lactic. Oh yeah, it's just everything, everything that comes with it. But if you can basically, and it's the same with any sporting event, if you can actually, the best thing you can do is pedal your bike right away. If you sit on it, then you're in a world of pain. So, but yeah, it totally depends on where you are in a block and if you win or lose, really.
Yeah, nice. And then thinking around that Glasgow Worlds as well, there's a couple of big Dutch boys, we'll call them that, who obviously took out those top spots. You've medalled at every major event there is now.
Yep.
Like, what's it going to take to take them down?
I think things are going in the right direction. I can't control what others are doing and what they turn up like. All I can do is control myself, and everything is going in the right direction. We've had setbacks, but it's moving generally in the right direction. We've got 8 weeks to go. we'll probably know in 4 weeks' time whether or not it's all coming together or not, and then we'll take it from there. And even if it doesn't come together, you can still give it a good shot, and you never know what happens on the day. So I'm feeling confident, I'm feeling focused. It takes a lot for me to tunnel vision into something, and I think my mentality is quite different to others. A lot of people can stay fully focused throughout the year, and for me, I make sure that I don't burn out too quickly. And but yeah, the head's there. I'm feeling good. Physically, we're slowly getting there, and yeah, we just have to wait and see. Again, I've done everything I can now. Realistically, the next 8 weeks is more about putting the cherry on top, and seeing if all this hard work that I've done over the last 2 or 3 years or throughout my whole career, but the last 2 or 3 years in particular is going to come to fruition or not.
Nice, good place to be, good mindset to have. And going right back to the start, like, coming through Glasgow Riders, I believe.
That's right, yeah.
And then into what was Wasker, and I suppose just just racing against your mates, the likes of Lewis Stewart, etc.
Yeah, mates is pushing a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, just kind of. Do you have fond memories of those days where it is just kicking lumps out of each other, having the crack? Like, that's the fun of cycling, right?
Yeah, I think you probably don't appreciate it as much now, or back then as you do now, sorry. Yeah, I think Wasker was massively crucial in me getting to where I am now. I think people probably aren't recognised enough who weekend out, like week in, week out, they are volunteering their time, whether they have a kid there or not. There's some of them that don't even have a kid there, they just do it because they want to promote the sport, push the sport, and these people are they're kind of like the unsung heroes, really. And without these people doing and giving up their time and doing what they do and bringing riders through, like, there would be no talent coming through in Scotland, or probably in the UK. There's volunteers throughout the whole of the UK that are giving up so much time and energy to bring on youth riders, and even above that, you've got obviously like the women's, is it Breeze now? Sorry, they've still got that coming through, and all these kind of programs and initiatives that are in at the moment. And I think that if it wasn't for these people, I wouldn't be where I am, and I certainly don't think if you were to ask half of them, they would be where they are. So yeah, I think it's very fond memories, and it was a safe place. It opened another side of kind of life that I never really seen before, because I came from Paisley, where it was like basically cycling wasn't really a thing. It's starting to get there now a little bit, and the west of Scotland is starting to, obviously with the helps of Chris Hoy Velodrome and other things that are going on, that there is more of a push for cycling, but it wasn't a thing when I really was growing up, and it kind of opened this idea. I met different people, different upbringings, and it kind of made me realise that there's other things out there as well, and I think that was really important with me growing up in the sport as well. Was I had friends all over Scotland and England, and just helps you grow as a person, doesn't it? So.
But not Wales. You didn't mention Wales.
No,
not Wales.
No.
Let's change gears. You rejected the lovely looking pastry. That's where the tunnel vision.
Just because the camera's on.
Of course. But in terms of food, French or other, what's your go-to? What do you enjoy?
Oh,
and that can be
salads and stuff.
You can tell me a post Paris answer if you like. What will you dive into?
Well, to be fair, you go to the food hall and you just eat everything that's inside, don't you? No, I think probably a bit of beer, really, to be honest with you. It's been a while, so yeah, I think I still treat myself to food, like takeaway here and there. Like I think it's still healthy to do, and I think if you focus fully all the time, then you can crack, and then you just eat everything that's in sight. Whereas I think if you I kind of go off the rule, it's like 80-20 rule, which is 80% really healthy, and then 20% that you can have what you want. So yeah, I think my yeah, I would say like my go-to sweet treat would be like a cookie or something like that.
Okay.
But, no, I'm making out as if I'm like strict and stuff like that. I'm probably the least strict out of everyone you're going to interview today, but I just didn't fancy the croissant. So.
Nah, oh well, we must try harder. No, it's interesting though. I remember a quote from Richard Kilty saying people will go to a major event, Olympics or whatever, and they'll stress over, oh, I can't possibly have that from the breakfast buffet or that, and it's like there's a million difficult, stressful decisions. Like if you're really strict on everything, like you said, you're going to crack at some point. There has to be a bit of normality to it.
I think as well, especially when you're away, you don't have everything at your disposal that some people might. There's people in the squad that will weigh what they're eating, and there's people in the squad that will only eat specific things before racing. I just see what's there, to be honest with you. Normally the food's alright and you can get what you need out of it. I don't think that's again, as you say, it's just another thing that you don't need to stress over. You'll be well fed. I know British Cycling will probably bring either a decent chef with them or something or another, so we'll be well looked after for sure. So what's the point of stressing about that?
Absolutely. And it doesn't necessarily go hand in hand with your training all the time, but I know you like a long pedal out on the road. If you were to pick one ride to do, or one route in Scotland,
where would you? It's been a while.
Where would you go? And I imagine if anything, everyone else is to go by, it's probably from your door, a kind of nostalgic route.
Yeah. I think I used to do the Largs route quite a bit from Paisley, go up over the kind of the Braes and through that way. Do you know? I really liked riding in Dunoon. I always thought the roads were really decent and the cars, there was loads of cars. Especially if the weather was decent, it was a really nice place to. But I think. I have fond memories when I was even a kid before I even did this as seriously. It was like going over to Millport and just riding around. It was 15 miles probably after that, and just going around there with like my family and stuff like that. So that's kind of the nostalgic side of things. But yeah, I would probably say like up through that was kind of, if I was to pick a training route, it'd be a kind of 60 mile loop around Largs. Yeah, so
lovely, good choice. Yeah, especially when the weather's good out that way.
Yeah, that's the issue though, isn't it?
Yeah, and what's your biggest motivator? What motivates you? Whether that's cycling or anything else in life? What gets you going?
Good question. What motivates me? I think I like the process of the training, and I like the process of. My favourite thing to do is race. The reason I do this is because I enjoy the racing. A lot of people like the opposite. They actually really enjoy just the day-to-day lifestyle of it. I don't particularly enjoy the day-to-day lifestyle.
You don't get to go to Germany?
Well, stuff like that, exactly. There is, I think people always go off this idea that you sacrifice a lot. You get a lot back, but you do give a lot as well. But yeah, I would say I enjoy the race and I enjoy being in front of that crowd. And Glasgow Worlds was an amazing opportunity to do that, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I would say that's motivated. I think, I think it's having. Back in the day, it was probably travelling the world a little bit. We don't get that as much now. I think it's you go to maybe 3 or 4 races now a year as a sprinter. But when I was kind of coming through the ranks, maybe went to a little bit more, especially over in Europe during the summer. So, but it has taken me to some amazing places, which I'm grateful for. So I would say that was the motivator to start with, and just doing something different in my life. I think I was never going to do a 9-to-5 job. It was never, still not something I could see myself doing. I could see myself being quite hands-on with whatever I do. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why I can do this, because it's obviously the most hands-on you can get. It's like I never sit in an office. I exercise for a living, and I'm grateful for that. So I think that's just a motivator as well. It's doing something I'm passionate about and I'm good at, and I think that's, if you can do something that you enjoy, then it doesn't feel like a job, and it's not a job. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
What about on the flip side? What's your biggest fear, whether that's cycling related or whether it's a phobia or something?
My biggest fear? Do
you have any phobias?
No, not
Sense
really.
there's like an embarrassing one under the surface there somewhere.
Nah, I don't like.
Yeah.
No, not really. I think There's not really anything I would say that I'm petrified of or anything. Phobia. I used to really, and this is going to sound like my dad's almost like child abuse. My dad used to do, right? But I used to really not like throwing up. No one likes throwing up, but like I really struggled.
The retching element.
I really struggled when I was exercising to push myself beyond the point where I could throw up. And I remember my dad, the Glenford Braes, which is just a hill in Paisley that it's quite a long hill, quite steep, and yeah, my dad used to make me do intervals up it, and I would only be allowed to stop. And he said he took me to a race once, and my dad, like, it's going to paint my dad in a bad light. He was not a pushy parent in that sense. Like both my mum and dad couldn't have cared less if this is what I ended up doing. They just saw that I was happy doing it, and I was relatively decent at it. But I went to a race. I can't remember what race it was, and I pulled out because I just got to the stage where I just felt ill, and I couldn't do it anymore. My dad was just raging because he was like, "I've drove you all this way, and you've not even gave it a go." So he's like, "I'm not taking you anywhere until you get over that." And that was basically what we did for 3 or 4 months, and it was over a winter period during the cyclocross season. And yeah, for the end of it, I had no fear of it anymore, and that was probably one of the big stepping stones to, because as a sprinter, you may well
have to throw it once or twice.
So yeah, I think
interesting.
Yeah, that was one when I was growing up, but no, I don't really have. I don't not scared of bugs, not scared of anything like that. Do you know what I mean? So
no,
yeah, I don't think so.
And final one, doing my research before chatting to you, your first international medal came in Paris in 2016.
Yeah, you told me that, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so that's good omen to leave on, surely.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've been to Paris a few times now. What's that? Three or four times I've been to Paris now, and it's arguably probably the nicest track in the world. Yeah. It is a really nice track, and I have had good results there in the past. And I know how it rides, and it's quite a different track to most track. Well, it's different to any track you'll see in the UK. It's a bit more kind of bank on it, so it's probably about 1 metre or 2 metres higher. So there's a bit more velodrome, which means that the times normally from the top are quite quick. Yeah. So yeah, I think it'll be good racing. Last Olympics was. It's almost like do or die every round, and you could feel that every race. Like you turn up to a Nations Cup, you knock someone out, and they're like, "Well done, mate." Whereas you go to the Olympics, and it's like they'll rather take you out than, do you know what I mean, cross the line second. So, so yeah, it's Olympics is a different race, and it'll be exciting. And Paris is a good track for it, and the French fans are obviously they're loud at the best of times for the French. Not for anyone else normally, but there'll hopefully be a few parties from different nations that join in. So, yeah, I'm excited for it.
Awesome. Well, look, thanks for chatting to us, and all the best.
Cheers, thank you.
Cheers, buddy.